So why we are learning JavaScript here, guys, is because see, we did our introductions in the previous session. JavaScript is basically which actually supports the React Native thing. See, the core behind React Native is this. The runtime behind React Native framework is Node.js. So wherever JS comes into the picture, JS is nothing but the JavaScript only. So we'll be learning at least the basics. Not I will say no, we'll not fully cover the JavaScript, but we'll learn all those basics which are relevant. At least for starting the React Native. So only that much of basics will be covering in this course. And so that's why I thought it, to bring those basics in this session. So we'll be starting with that. So you guys might already be knowing of the, primitive types and, composite types. Like primitive types, by that I means it int, string values and booleans. These are all the primitive types. Correct. I hope whatever technologies you have worked on so far, you might came across all these types. So similarly, JavaScript also supports such types. So composite type, by the means of composite type, I mean this objects. So similarly, JavaScript also has the concept of objects also. So we'll be starting with that. In JavaScript, it is sort of very easy, sort of way to declare an object, but it behaves in a very interesting way in JavaScript. So that's what we'll be learning today. Okay, my compiler is ready. Okay, so if I want to create an object in JavaScript, the very simple way. Now, just see the syntax. I'll explain each and everything. That's it. That's an object in JavaScript. Nothing like that. So have you heard about a statically typed language and dynamically typed language? Can anyone tell me what is the difference between both of them?
Dynamic is runtime.
Okay.
Static is it's like static itself says that it's already declared only once.
What do you mean by that? Okay, if I say that what do you say this Java, Sandeep, you might be knowing it, or Kotlin. These are statically typed language, and JavaScript is a dynamic type language. What do we mean by this thing? What do I mean by this statement? But let's forget about Java or Kotlin also. If I say that one language is statically typed and one language is dynamically typed, what is the difference? Or how do we define a language to be a static type or a dynamic type? Okay, so I'll tell you. Sandeep, you might already be knowing it. So let's say if you want to create an object in Kotlin, you first have to declare a class for that, right?
Right.
Right. And you have to mention in that class whatever the variables type. For example, let's say there's a class name, uh, uh, let's say vehicle. There's a class name vehicle. So there are 3-4 parameters in that class, not parameters, sorry, the class members. So one member name is what is the model of that vehicle. Another parameter is what is the make of that vehicle. Let's say type of that vehicle. Is that a two-wheeler or a three-wheeler? So all these parameters, it must be having some type. Could be string, could be boolean, could
Yeah.
be let's say integer or whatever it is. So when you are creating a class, when you are declaring a class in Kotlin or Java, you have to mention that what is the type of that member. Okay, I'll just give you a brief example. Let's say if I want to create a class, let's say the class is a person class, or let's say let it be vehicle only. And let's say if I want to declare a member in some let's say in Java only. So what I would do is int a equal to 0. Sorry, let's make a habit of keeping the names as, you know, this int model and this will be boolean can fly. Okay, or let's say it doesn't have any initial values. Every class has an initializer. Srividya, just want you guys are following it, right?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Okay. So let's assume every class has a initializer as well. So let's say in the initializer, we say it is an int. This is string as model, and this is boolean can fly. I hope you guys know what is the role of an initializer, right? In Java, it is like public. Sorry, I'm confusing this with the syntax of Swift. Swift is another iOS language. So syntax may vary. You just understand the concept. The names may vary. So this is the syntax for the Java. The previous syntax where I've written in it, that was the syntax for Swift language. So this is how it is. So this dot make equal to make, this dot model equal to model, this dot can fly, can fly. So here this, I'll explain what this means in JavaScript later in the stage, maybe tomorrow. But this something is for the Java. So here this means we are referencing the value which is part of this class. And this dot mean make refers to this variable, and make here refers to the parameter of this function, this initializer. So this is how we are justifying. So now if I want to, create an object for the vehicle class in Java, how do I do it? I'll create new, I'll say vehicle, and I'll say, okay, it is an int, let's say one, model, it is, let's say 2025, can fly, let's say it's a OBJ, car cannot fly, right? So I can say that no, it cannot fly. So this will be false. So this is how I created an object. Now, why I explained you all this is, in Java, when we, compile the code, no, it has to, declare the variable, the members of each class at the compile time itself. The Java has to know it at the compile time itself. But this is not the case with JavaScript. What you can do it over here is, you can directly say that make one model, you can say that 2025, and can fly false. Again, this is a JavaScript object. Later on, let's say if you want to modify it in let's say Java, so there are getters and setters. I hope you guys are already, I'm assuming you guys are already knowing about the getters and setters. So setters are for setting any, member of the class. So if I want to, change any member of the class, any member of the object, I will declare another function, set model. So I will say that this dot model var. Now in Java, if I want to change it, what I have to do is obj car dot set model. I will say that, okay, it's not 2025, it's 2024. This is how it will set. But over here, I can set it directly as well. If let's say it's a good practice to make it encapsulated. It is like if it is private, then within this class itself, I can access this. Okay. But if I'm setting it public, we can directly also do it like this. But it's a good coding practice that we do not generally expose the variables. We create the getters and setters. Okay, so this is generally avoided. But in JavaScript, you can do directly like this. Anytime. And also one more thing, the important one which I wanted to mention over here is, now if I want to set model, it is 2024. Or let's say if it was public, then I would have directly done obj car dot model equal to 2024. Let's say if I want to change the type of this model, currently it is string. If I say that, okay, no, I don't want to pass 2024. What I want to say is it is, let's say 5, 2025 as an integer and not a string. It'll be a compile time error in Java. The code will not even compile. But in JavaScript, you can easily do it. You can say 2025 like this. This is how the things are different in JavaScript compared to Java or any other statically typed language, because these are the decisions which are being made at the runtime and not at the compile time. But here in Java, this is all happening during the compilation of the code. And that is how it will throw the error. Sandeep, you might be relating to it more because you have
Yes,
worked with
yes,
Java.
yes, yes,
Uh,
yes, yes.
so this is the major difference between the Java and the other statically typed language. Did I make my point clear? Anyone having any doubts? You can please raise it. This one, Srividya, Deep.
No, we understood.
Okay, so I'm assuming it is clear to everyone. So we are clear with the point that JavaScript is a dynamically typed language. We can make any type of modifications as we want at any point of time. This makes it bit dangerous as well because see, let's say we are making some sort of check based on that. Okay, we will receive some string or we will receive some integer, but at later point of time, let's say from the server we receive an integer value or a let's say or a string value, but we are our handling is based on if it is a string or integer. So that could cause problems as well. So flexibility also comes with the cost, right? So we'll have to be very careful with it whenever we are dealing with the JavaScript. Because in other statically typed language, it doesn't even let you do it. It will simply throw the compile time error. But in JavaScript, we'll have to be very careful. Got it? So we'll move ahead. Okay, so this is how we can change. We can change it to any times. We can change it at any time. We can change it to any value we want to. Let's say if I want to change it to Boolean, I can do it. There is no issue in that. So this is the concept of a statically typed versus dynamically typed language. So JavaScript is a dynamically typed language. Okay.
Himanshu, what
Yeah.
will be the output we will get for this object? Now, false we will get or
We'll get false. I'll print it for you.
mm,
Can you see it? We have changed it to false and we are, printing it on the console, the object, the entire object. So now the model value is false.
okay.
Okay, we can change it to anything we like. Now we'll learn the concept of cloning. So what is a cloning? Anyone?
Copying the or object
Copying.
values.
Copying the values. Okay, so cloning simply means copying. That's it. Nothing else. Cloning means copying. So in JavaScript, we usually deal with two type of cloning. The React Native guys, Srividya, just one. You guys have a bit of experience in React Native. Have you heard of the terms shadow cloning and deep cloning?
Hmm. Yeah,
Heard of-
heard theory I heard, but
Okay,
practically I haven't implemented.
okay. So we'll see what is the difference. Because see, uh, understand these concepts very clearly, because this is the core of React Native or any other JavaScript related framework or library you'll be working on. If you understand the objects correctly, no, trust me, you will be able to debug or solve 90% of the issues related to JavaScript, which other seen even lead developers will are not able to do at this point of time. Trust me. Okay, so if you are able to understand the core of this object thing, no, you are through. React Native is not a big deal if you understand the concepts of objects very clearly. Okay, okay. So now we'll understand what is cloning. Let's say I create another object. Let's say this is obj car. This is obj car one, and I say that okay. No, okay. First we'll learn this. There's a variable where one, and its value is two. Another variable where two, its value is 5. Okay. Uh, Not value 5. Let's say I assign value to this. Can anyone tell me what will the logs, console logs for these two?
Two,
Sorry,
two.
2, right? Should be 2, 2. Let's comment it for now. Yeah, it is 2, 2. Great. Everything is sorted. Now let's say if I do the same thing over here. Okay, we'll come back to it later. First, let's add another thing to over here is. So I'm changing it to let. I'll explain you a bit later when I'll explain hoisting. Just now understand what is, I'll briefly explain what does const mean, what does let mean. Const means that while initializing a variable or any value, uh, the variable's value can be set during the initialization time itself. If you want to later modify where 1 to let's say 5, you won't be able to do it. It will be a compile time error for JavaScript. Okay. But when you use let, let's say instead of const, you use let, you can change it. You can change it anytime. Okay. So just understand this for now. In detail, I will explain when I'll be explaining you hoisting. Okay. So now this is const and this is let, where to. And let's say if I change, now if I print where to over here, and now I change the values value to, let's say, 5. Now I'm just printing where to, okay? So just see this code and tell me the output.
5.
No, there are two consoles.
The first one will come 2 and second console 5.
Easy, simple. Okay. Now let's come to the objects. I do the same thing over here. Let's print both. Okay. So what do you think? It'll print on the screen.
Object one value.
Object one's values, right? In both the cases, correct? Because we are just copying it.
Yeah.
Correct? Let's see. See, no difference. Now let's do something interesting over here. Let's say I change the value of model to 2021. In car 1, I'm not changing car 2, the original object. I'm changing the cloned object. First, tell me, will that even work or not? Because see, obj car 1 is a const, and I'm changing the value of the property of obj car 1. And I just explained you what is the difference between a brief early explained that what is the difference between a let and goes. First, tell me, will it allow me or not?
It will not allow because we have declared const.
Okay, Srividya,
I think it will not.
it will not allow.
Yeah.
Sure about this? Just one.
You are logging in the second, right?
I'm not logging right now. I'm just asking you if object car1 is a const,
It works.
right? And I'm saying that I'm changing the model property of obj car1, which is a const,
Yeah, it will change to 2021.
but it is a const. I just explained you what is the difference between a let and const. Then why do you think it will allow me?
But it is an object, right?
Uh-huh.
The object properties we can change the
Why?
value.
Why?
Print out the one.
See, for every just make a rule of this class. For every each and every question, no, for each and every concept, we'll ask as many whys as possible. Okay, so now you're saying that we can change the properties of the object.
Yeah,
Why
but we are changing the value inside, but we are not changing the variable name.
Okay. Okay, so just one is saying we can change it. Sandeep and Srividya are saying we cannot change it. So let's try. If it see, it will not print anything, but I'll put a console over here. I'll say that executed successfully. Okay, so if this prints, that means our code has been successfully compiled. See, our code is successfully compiled. So this is a very valid operation which we can do. Now, why we can do it? Because see, this we are not entirely changing an object. We are changing its property. We are directly dealing with the reference here. I'll explain it to you later. But let's say if I would have wanted to do this for any other value, this will not compile. Assignment to constant variable. So why is it happening? Because objects are reference type in JavaScript. What do you mean by reference type? Ever heard of pointers? We used to study in our colleges.
I heard about pointers, but not.
Pointers were reference types, no?
Yeah, referring to some
Yeah,
other.
correct. So what we are doing is we are not directly dealing with the reference of the objects car1. We are dealing with the reference of the property. We are directly changing its property. If we were directly dealing with the reference, no, it is throwing me the compile time error. I hope it is clear.
Just go.
Yes. Now clear. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is another point I wanted to make. Now let's say now we know that this is a very valid operation. Now let's say I want to print obj car dot model and obj car1 dot model. Now I'll paint the picture very clearly with you guys what we have exactly done here. Okay, so just focus on this code. This is obj car. This is obj car1 when we have cloned the obj car to obj car1, means we have copied the values of obj car1 car to obj car1. We have printed obj car on obj car1. We see that values are successfully copied. Now what I'm doing is I am just changing the model of obj car1, but I'm not changing the model of obj car. Now tell me what is the output of these two?
It's 2025 and 2021.
Sorry?
Yeah. Obj car make one model 2025 and can fly
Is
false.
2025? And this is
Obj car will be 2021.
this is what you are expecting, right?
Yes.
Let's run it. Let's see. Wow, what happened?
Oh, you logged 2 at a time, right? Yeah, correct.
Sorry?
Oh, yeah. After changing the value, we logged 2, right?
After changing the value?
We have logged both the objects, right?
No. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm clearing everything. Now I'll run it. Why is it printing 2021 for both the cases? But we have just changed the obj car1's model to 2021. We have not even touched obj car.
Why? Because the object which is in the obj car is taking from obj car values. No? Obj car 1 is taking from obj car values.
But I just showed you, no, this thing.
The reference of object is same, so we are changing the what we say model value. That's why changes reflecting for both object.
Perfect. This is the correct answer.
Yeah.
So what we are doing here is, I just explained you objects are reference types. So basically, what is happening over here is the values are not being copied here. Just understand it very closely. The values are not being copied here of the object. The reference of obj car, let's say it is lying at the memory address of, let's say 21. Now let's assume, let's say that memory reference number is 21 for obj car. Now in obj car1, no, this entire object's values are not getting copied. The reference is getting copied. The reference is being passed. So whenever we are changing the model of obj car1, it is directly pointing to reference of obj car. And that is the reason it is changing the values for both the objects. Any doubts in that?
No, it's clear.
Srividya,
It's clear.
it's clear, right?
Yes.
Great. Now, what do we do? This is a very simple task which we want to do. But, and again, this is a very common use case in our day-to-day life that, okay, if I'll give you a use case. I'm getting some object from, let's say, from server. And obviously I would want to do some manipulations in that value. This is a very common use case in daily IT, life. We get some values from the server. We want to do some manipulations. But then how do we do it? If this is the case, it'll be impossible to do it, no, because it'll make if we try to clone it, if we want to keep that original object intact, and I just want to make the changes in the cloned object, then how do we do it? Anyone?
Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Okay. So my question is, I want to keep this object as intact. I don't want, if I am changing the model of obj car1, it shouldn't reflect in the obj car. You guys understood why is it happening? What is the reason for this to happen? And you tell me. I just explained it to you.
It is happening because of reference.
Because of reference, like how
You're,
reference is
you're dealing with the only reference, not the value.
correct. Because obj cars reference is being out to obj car 1. And the reference is being copied here.
Yeah, but we can.
Now, if I say that if I change the reference, will that work?
Yes, then you are not directly.
Now let's say if this object is lying in 21 memory reference, if I say that okay, let it be at 21, I'll create another reference which will lie at 21, 22, or let's say 30. That will solve our issue. Correct?
Yes.
So another easy way to do it, create another object. Right?
Yes.
So there's a new object being created. There's a new object being created. But every time we cannot do it like this. No. Eventually, if we keep on doing like that, okay, let's say if I want to do it like make is like obj car dot make obj car dot model obj car dot can fly. Don't you think this will be too much of code? There are hundreds of properties which we get from server sometime. It will be too much tedious for us to, uh, make copies like this. So what is the alternative? How do we make it easy? One thing we understood that, okay, we have to point it to new reference now. Because this can't be on the same reference. If it will be on the same reference, it will be impacting it, impacting the original object. So that is something which is very clear. But okay, we have created a new reference, but this is causing problem for us. How? It is too much of code for us. Then how do we do it?
We can access the value inside the object and we can change it. The same way what we
That's
did.
what we did. No, that's what we did.
Ah.
But this is too much of code. Now there comes a role of spread operator.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm about to say actually. We are merging we are making
Correct.
copy of the thing and we are changing the value.
Correct. So that's why you guys use spread operator. So now what is this spread operator doing?
It's just making copy of the object copy.
So what is, yes, correct. So what it is doing is one by one, it is saying like, okay, copy this, I have copied this. Now it takes another key value pair, it copies like this. It takes another key value pair, it copies like this. Less code at the new reference. With the spread operator. Is it clear now?
Yes.
Now shall we run it?
Yes.
See now? The changes persist in the original object. And changes only in the object where we intended it to change. Is it clear now?
Yes, got it. Why? Because obj car is now totally new object.
It is totally a new object. That is the reason you see all those, syntaxes like this.
Yes.
So basically, wherever you are dealing with the reference types, no, you'll have to be very careful. Object is one of the reference type. Another type of reference type in JavaScript is an array. You see, array val has only 5 values, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have cloned array value in array value 1. But we are just pushing the value 6 in what? Array value 1. Okay, sorry. My bad. I should have printed it here. Okay. In array value 1 and array value, both are having now the 6 elements. But array val only had 5 elements. Why? Because of the same logic.
Reference.
References. Is it clear now? How do we
Yes.
fix it then?
Right operator.
So array also supports spread operator. So what it does is, one by one, it iterates over the array. It actually iterates. Another solution would have been just create a for loop, create an empty array, create a for loop and iterate over the array val. One by one, push the values over here. It does the same thing, but with the lesser code. Internally, it does the same thing only.
Got it.
Okay, now run it. There's 5, it has 6 values. Are you clear with the reference types?
Yes.
Yes, got it.
Great. So this was, you can say, one of the most important JavaScript concept which everyone should know before they even think about React Native. Because the whole base of React Native lies on this particular concept, reference types. Okay, so this we are done. Let's see another basic things which we generally do. Arrays. Have you heard about higher order functions?
Yes.
Might have worked with them also.
I know, like it is like we have to declare a function once and we can use that function in any component.
Okay,
Very good. Right.
Okay, before let's hold it, this concept for now, this higher order functions. Let's talk about what are functions actually. What are functions in JavaScript? Block of code, correct?
Yeah, like
Whatever
logic.
it is in each and in any language, it is just a block of code which we have to do, which we have to write to execute some action.
Repeated. And
Sorry?
we can use it whenever we want.
We can use it whenever we want. Okay, this is a function. How do I explain it? What is a function? Just a second, huh? Okay. So functions are nothing but the block of codes which we want to execute. This is one thing which we know about functions. What are the other things which we know about the function? Functions are again stored as a value.
Yes.
Where does it get stored? Okay, let's go to inspect element here. You guys must be using Google Chrome, no, in your laptops or anywhere.
Yes.
So anytime you want to play with the JavaScript, no, the best way to do it, right click anywhere on your web page, go to inspect, go to console, and there you can write any JavaScript. Const, say, equal to, okay, console, because it helps you auto type as well. Okay, so let's Okay. ठीक है एक बारी normally functions पे ही focus करते हैं let's focus on functions only for now that global execution context and everything I'll explain in the meantime because that will go way too far then and it will take us more than 1 week or so to just complete the JavaScript only. So keeping time in mind, let's understand what actually a normal function is. Function is nothing but a block of code. That's it. Okay. So now let's say if I am creating another function, function also has parameters, right?
Yes, arguments.
Arguments, sorry. Yes. We can, let's say if I want to pass it, I can pass it. Now, if I say execute, this is how we execute functions. I mean, this is a basic syntax. I'm assuming everyone know the basic syntaxes of how what function declaration is, what function calling is, right? If you are not aware, you can call it out. That is not an issue. I will explain. But if I'm writing the syntax and I'm assuming you guys know it. So I hope everyone knows what a function is and how do we call it, right?
Yes, yes.
Right. So let's say if I pass it at 2, it will execute, it will say 2, right? This is how a function is. Now, what is this? This is a primitive value, right? This is an integer. Now let's say I create another function. I name it as to be executed later. So this is a function, right? Now let's say I want to execute this function inside of this function. How do we do it?
We need
Simple
to
way. We can just
store
do
the
it like this. It'll be calling, right?
yes.
Now, but what if I say that this particular function is a generic function which doesn't know which say if I put this to be executed later over here, no, and wherever we want to execute, we will run execute function. It will always call. But let's say it is an optional thing to call this function. I'm just trying to put one scenario. There can be a number of scenarios. I'll explain that where I'm trying to get. But let's just assume that I want to make it an optional to call this function. This function can be can be called or cannot be called. Okay. So let's say I put it as function to be called. What is this? What is A? A is an argument. What is function to be called? This is another argument in the execute function, right?
Yes.
I've done nothing over here. Now, this execute function, we are calling it here with the value 2. But now it accepts 2 arguments. See, again, this is again a dynamic type language. If we do not pass anything over here, no, it will define its value to be undefined, function to be called. If you print function to be called here, no, it will print undefined here. Undefined. So if we are not passing any value over here, no, in this this thing, it will automatically be undefined. I'll explain what is undefined, what is null, what is what do you say, NaN, not a number later. But just by heart this thing that if we do not declare, we just let's say that let A. Okay, and if we print the value of A, it will always be undefined. But okay, no, but this is the only thing. Similarly, we have done it over here. We have declared a
Value.
value over here inside of the function. This is similar to let A only. Okay, but we have not passed any value to it. If we would have passed any value to it, it would have been like this. Okay, we are assigning value to A, or we are saying that A equal to 2. This is the value passing to the A. But here, we are not passing anything. So by default, it will be undefined. Just by heart this thing for now. I'll explain that what actually is undefined. Undefined is a very interesting concept. Okay, we'll discuss it at a later point. Now, so this is undefined. We have seen it. Now, I told you that this function may or may not execute, this function. So how do we decide it? That in what cases does this function has to execute this function, and in what cases does it not have to execute? We can decide it at the call time. So what I did was, how I'm able to decide it, what I'll say is, instead of calling this function directly, I'll check if function to be called exists. If it is, this is a very bad, syntax which we should avoid. But just for the sake of explaining, I'm writing this. This shouldn't be. We shouldn't do it. I'll explain why. I'll do it like this. Now what I'll do is, in this case, I'm not passing it. Let's say for odd values, let's say we build a logic for odd values of A. We have to execute this function. What I'll say is, what did I do here? I am passing this function as a reference. When this function is passed as a reference, this function's reference, which we are having here, is getting copied to this variable. Now, this function to be called is equivalent to this function.
Yes.
Anyone having any doubt? Now,
No.
for this, will still be getting undefined. Let's say this is, let's create another. And for this, it will print the value of this. Let's run it. For 2, it say that, okay, it is 2. And function to be called is undefined, because for the obvious reasons. And here, in case of execute 1, I'm passing this function as a reference. Now, you see the reference of this function is copied here. And this is how this function was able to execute it. Sandeep, Srividya, any doubts?
No.
Himanshu, I didn't get this
Didn't get this.
reference that point. Can you explain again?
Okay. This is the function which lies outside. Just forget it. Okay, if I say that, okay, if I want to console.log this function, if
Yes.
I do this, not here, sorry, here. If I do this, what does it do? It calls a function.
Yes.
This braces mean that we are calling this function. How are we calling this function? Basically, this function might also be storing in some reference, no?
Okay.
The memory. If we're declaring it, it is storing in some memory.
Okay.
Yes or no?
Yeah.
Must be having some memory reference like that object, like that array also had. Similarly, it must be also be having some reference.
Okay.
Okay. Now, if I do this, I'm telling JavaScript that, okay, this is the memory address actually to be executed, later, is actually references to some memory. Okay. So we are telling JavaScript that, okay, go to that memory and execute it. Execute that function. So go to that memory, it will start running whatever lines are in that, function. So this is a function call. Now what I'm saying is, instead of calling this function, I'm just printing the reference of that function. This is a reference, no? This is the
Okay.
reference.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
So far
Yeah,
we
yeah.
are good. Or you have doubts?
Okay, got it.
Okay. So what it will print? It will print the reference of that function.
Mm-hmm.
JavaScript way of printing the reference. Just say that it is the reference only. Okay, this JavaScript way of telling that this is the reference. Now, so if this is a reference, like we have copied the reference of one object to other. Similarly, we can copy the reference of one function of to the other function, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I can also do it like this. Let another function. This is different. This is calling a function. This is copying the reference of this function which you
Mhm.
already declared to some other variable.
Okay. Mm.
Okay. So if this is again pointing to this reference only, so that means if this is a function, this is also be a function.
Yeah. So if we make any changes in to be executed
No.
later, it will reflect in.
Correct. So basically,
Mhm.
see, we have not declared anywhere this function. We have declared only this function. But
Yeah.
since we have copied the reference of this function to another variable, this will also act like a function.
Okay.
Okay. Now I'm running it. See,
To be executed later.
also
Mhm.
called this only.
Yeah.
Getting my point? Now let's
Yes.
come back to this. This is the value A. We
Hmm.
are passing 2. And I told you that if we are not passing anything, undefined is there.
Hmm.
So for first case, this is 2 and this is undefined.
Hmm. Yeah.
2 and undefined. Yes?
Hmm.
Let's
Yes.
go with the second case. What am I doing here? Passing the value 1 to A. What am I passing here? Similar to this thing. The exact same thing I'm doing here itself.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I created another variable here in line number 72. Similarly, I created an argument in function.
Okay.
Okay. I was assigning the reference of the created function to this variable. Similarly, I am passing this function as a parameter, and obviously, like one is getting copied to this. Similarly, its reference will also be getting copied to this only, right?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, got
Okay.
it.
So again,
Yes.
this is similar to this, and this function will be executed like this only.
Okay.
Do you know what do we call this thing? This is a callback function.
Okay.
Heard of this thing before? Might have heard of it, callback.
Yeah, he had called back.
This is
But
callback only.
the meaning now I got.
Yeah, this is nothing but the callback only. Sandeep, you might already be relating to it. There are a lot of callbacks in Java as well as in Kotlin.
Yeah.
So this is how callback functions work in JavaScript. So undefined is a falsy value. You know now what is truthy value, what is a falsy value. Truthy value means if we say that okay, let's say let a equal to true, and if I say that console.log a equal to true, what will it return? This is a comparison operator only. Comparison. What does comparison return? True or false? Comparison means we are comparing something with something. If I'm saying that okay, I have one pole of length 10. If I'm saying that I have another pole of length 20, if I'm comparing the values, I'm saying that okay, shall I compare it or not? When I'm comparing it, is 10? I'm asking a question. Is 10 equal to 20? What will the answer? No. Okay. So in comparison, only two possible outcomes are there. Either it is a true or it is a false. So always this comparison will return either true or false. So here in this case, it is true. So just remember that undefined, null, zero, empty string, or are falsy values in JavaScript. So what is this in this case? In this case, if I'm saying execute to, function to be called is what? Undefined.
Yes. False.
Undefined is what? Is a falsy value. If I say not,
Hmm.
True.
it will say that okay, if false, false को हमने change कर दिया, we have changed false to true. So this condition will pass only, no?
Yes.
So what we have done over here is we have replaced not equal to undefined. So what we are doing over here is in this, we were checking that, okay, if someone is passing the value of this function to be called or not. See, if someone is not even passing the value, then this will throw the compile time error while runtime error while executing it. I'll show it to you. Okay. To be executed later is not defined. Why it is not defined? We are not even passing it. So that is why it was necessary to make this check. Getting my point? It was undefined. If it is undefined, then why are we even calling it? We can only call a function. Right? So this check was necessary. And since undefined is a falsy value, so this is undefined. So basically it is like saying if it is undefined, it is as equivalent to this only, right? Srividya,
Yes, yes.
calling it right. So
Yes.
I can also write undefined as like this. It is false.
Hmm.
Okay, so it will not execute. Okay, if I say false to not, that becomes true, right? Not
Hmm.
okay. So I can similarly do it with this also. So undefined not is true.
Hmm.
Basically, what I'm trying to say is if
If it,
it is undefined is not true, that means we have passed some value over here
hmm.
and only execute in that case. Sorry. Oh, sorry. My bad. It should be there. If undefined is there, sorry, if this value is there, right? If it is a undefined, that means it is a false only. No, if it is a false only, then it will not come into this block. Getting my point? It will be only true for this case.
Undefined.
Then only be true for this case. क्या हो रहा है इसको?
Not that.
Sorry. No, wait. अच्छा यार, इसमें सिंटेक्स शायद चलेगा नहीं. एक सेकंड.
Not.
It is not. It is not. It shouldn't be not.
Yeah.
It should be this only. Just give me a second. ये इधर चलेगा. This should be executing. Some syntaxes don't work in this compiler. That is the reason I prefer
To
using
be executed, we have commented statement function. We have
कहाँ पे?
commented, I think.
Just
To
a
be
second.
executed function, we have commented 66 line number.
अरे, sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
हाँ. So this is the case. So whenever it will be having any value, in first case, it doesn't have any value. It is undefined. It is false. The if block will not even execute. In second case, it has some value. It has some value. If it is having some value, then if statement will consider it as a true. Then that is the only way it will call it. Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay. So this is what we call a callback function. So far, whatever you guys have understood regarding JavaScript, is it clear? So the concept we have learned was statically dynamically typed languages. We have seen the primitive types and the other types. we have seen the objects, we've seen the arrays, I've explained the example of statically typed languages as well. We learned about callback functions. Now from callback functions, I wanted to take you to the higher order function. You have 10 minutes more, right? You can spare 10 minutes more, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. So there, I'll explain two higher order functions. Third one is your homework. You will try to understand it by yourself, and then you come to me if you are having any doubts in it. So the first higher order function is a filter. So why I taught you the callback function concepts, now it will apply here, and it will apply at many places also, but it will apply here only. So let's say if I'm having an array. I tell you guys that, okay, do one thing, write a code and return me an array which are having the, return me the results or do some operation on this array and return me the results with only the odd number of arrays, odd number of items. Basically, I want you guys to do some operation on this array so that it should print only 1, 3, and 5. It should eliminate 2 and 4.
Where should we write now?
Sorry?
Should
It
we write in chat box?
No. I'm just telling you.
Okay.
This is what my ask is from you guys.
Got it.
So how do we do it? So basically it is like filtering something out of this array.
Yes.
So in JavaScript, array already have the filter function. So now, what does this filter function do? It performs operation on this array. Okay. It performs operation on this array and give us the new array. Just hear it very carefully. It returns us new array means it doesn't return the reference of this array to us. It returns us the altogether a new array. So whatever it will be returning us, no. I already told you that array is a reference type. So whatever this ARR will return, this array.filter will return us, it will be altogether a new reference to a new array. It will not be a reference to original array. That means when we do array.filter, no, it keeps the original array intact and it will return us the entirely new array. So far, this is clear.
Yes, got it.
Now, let's move ahead. I'll explain just what is the one argument which filter function takes. The first argument which filter function takes is a callback function. So let's create a function. This is a similar syntax which I explained you just above only, no?
Yes.
Correct? What we are doing here is we were passing the reference of this function and another function was calling this. Just try to, just see it. Just try to relate this example which I gave you above with this. This filter function is nothing but this execute function. It is equivalent to execute function. Okay. This to be executed later function which I declared above is similar to this logic to filter items function. Is it clear?
Yes.
So basically filter function is taking reference of this function. Okay. I also wanted to explain another thing I forgot. I should have explained it here itself. let's say this to be executed later function was taking an argument. Let's say arg. Let's print it here. Where does this to be executed function is getting called?
The if.
It is getting passed here as an argument.
Yes.
Okay, but it is actually getting called from here.
Yes.
Okay, now if I want to pass an argument, let's pass it a. So it is as good at doing like this, no? If I want to do this, file. This is same thing, no? I explained it above. To be executed later is equal to function to be called. So I can also do it like this, no? I already have a value in this. So I can pass it over here also. So 2 will be passed here in this case. Sorry, 1 will be passed in this case over here, and 1 will be printed here. In 2's case, though, we are not even executing this function, no, because we are not even passing the value. So let's omit it. Let's see the output. Sorry.
Const.
Getting my point? Now, to be executed later, here prints 1. Why? Because we are passing the value of a daily. From the where the a's value come from the execute, call. Is this clear?
Yes.
Srividya? Sandeep?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Now, similarly, we'll try to understand this also with the same analogy. This is an array. This is just another function, just a random function. We are passing this function inside of the filter because filter is a JavaScript function. We have not created this function, filter function. JavaScript has created this function for the arrays. It will only apply on arrays. So what does it do is it takes the callback function as an argument. We are given the callback function as an argument. Now, this filter function internally, what it does is it must be calling this callback function like we have called this,
Yes.
right? So what it does is, let's say there are 5 items in the array. So what filter function does is it take first value of the array, which is 1, and it will call this logic to filter items internally, and
Index or something.
it will
Item.
call it with the value 1. Then it comes to the second item. Again, it will call this function internally with value 2. Then it comes to 3. Again, it will call this function with the value 3. Again with the value 4. Again with the value 5. So basically, this callback function, which filter is taking as an argument, it is calling it 5 times.
Yes.
So it is as good as what it has done is, it has applied a for loop on this array. Let I equal to 0, I less than I dot length minus 1,
I plus plus.
I plus plus. So it is as good as doing this. Array. Anyone is having any doubts in this? Please raise. Okay. So on every array item, for every array item, what I'm trying to make the point here is this filter function. For every array item, it will call this function. And it will also pass the value for which it is being called. For which this filter function is calling this function. For example, it first encounters 1, it will say, okay, I'm calling this function for the value 1. If you try to print this item over here, no, it will print 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. You see? Where is it? So what I'm trying to make the point here is filter will iterate for each item, and for each item it will call this function. Anyone having doubts in this?
I have one query.
Yeah.
Here we are in filter, we are passing the reference for function logic
Yes.
to be filter item, right?
Yes.
In this function, we are passing the argument item.
Yes.
So when we are passing the reference
We are
into,
not passing the item. Filter function is passing it.
okay,
We are not passing it. Filter is a JavaScript function. It is not my function. I have not declared it.
okay.
JavaScript has given the superpowers to array that they can call the filter function.
In filter function, we are passing the reference now for this
We are
function.
passing reference to this only. Yes.
Okay, from where the value is getting passed in the item? I have some doubt.
That's what I'm telling. No, filter is internally passing it.
Acha, acha.
That is the reason I've given you this example. Here we are
Okay.
manually passing it. Some sort of this thing filter is internally doing it in itself.
But above example in line number 88, in execute you are passing the 1, right?
Line number?
88.
Line number 88. Yes.
Yeah, we are
Here,
passing
because
the 1, right?
we are passing it. No, we are
Ha.
passing the value 1 in another function.
Okay.
That is the function which we have created.
Yes, yes.
Filter we have not created.
Okay.
Filter
That is
JavaScript
happening
is created.
above example is happening manually, and it is happening dynamically
It is happening by itself.
by
Okay.
itself. There is a function.
Okay.
So, simple point here is arrays in JavaScript has superpowers. What superpowers do they have? They can call the filter function. This is one superpower which arrays have. Now, what this filter function do? What does filter function do? It accepts callback function as an argument. Okay, we have created callback function as an argument. We have passed the callback function. Okay, take the reference and call it for each iteration. So array dot filter. So filter what is doing? It is taking one by one each value from the array 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And for each value, it is again and again calling this function.
Okay.
Now, inside of filter only, because we have passed the reference, we have told that, okay, filter, you use this logic to filter item functions anywhere you want to. So filter says that, okay, I will use anywhere I want to, but I will also give you for which item I am executing this function. So here you can see that I've added console log. So filter is telling me that, okay, I'm executing this function for item 1. Filter again is telling me that I'm executing for 2, 3, 4, 5. Any doubts?
No.
Sri Vidya?
No.
Got it. Now come the most interesting part of this filter. So now what does it do is, basically if I want to filter something, I have to make some decision.
But
Right.
writing.
So my initial ask from you guys was that you guys return me only the array with the odd number of values. So that means you want to filter out the even values, right?
Yes.
So that is some decision making you have to do.
We need to write condition.
Correct.
Logic.
So yes, you have to do some decision making. Decision making means you have to write some logic.
Yes.
Decision making इसमें क्या होगा? So अगर if it is executing for each and every item of the array, the decision making would be, do we want 1?
No.
Yes or no?
Yes.
We
Yes.
want
We
yes.
want one
Do we want 2?
No.
Yes
No.
or no? No. Do you want 3? Yes.
Yes.
Do you want 4? No. Do you want 5? Yes. So basically, what is the decision making? It is either yes or no.
Yes.
Yes or no, right? So what is yes, what is no? Booleans.
Mm.
Okay. So
will return
What
Boolean.
filter function wants is, what filter function says that, okay, I will execute this function for each and every item. Now, filter function is asking the developer that you build some logic in this function that you return me either true or false. If you return me true for this item, if you return me true for the item for which I'm executing this callback function, I will, return that value for you. If you want false for that particular value, I will return false for you. So now in this function, this, how many times this function is getting executed for this array? I just told you 5 times.
5 times. Yeah.
So first time it is executing for 1. So if you want to have 1, filter is saying return true for 1. If you want item 2 as well, return true for item 2 as well. But here in this case, what we want to do is, I want to only return the odd number of values. So how will I do it?
We need to write the condition.
What is the condition here?
If percentile item percentile by
Let's
2
do it
equal
like this.
to
Okay.
0.
I was writing the ternary operator, but yes, let's do it like this. That will be easy way.
Yeah,
If item, what is item here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
values.
Ampersand 2.
So if equals to 1.
0.
If it is not equals to 0.
Sorry, not triple equal to double equal. Return true, else return false. So equal to 1 में यही हुआ ना? So see,
Okay.
if
Yeah,
I say 1 ampersand 2, what is ampersand? It return the remainders. So
Yes.
2 divided by 1, it is not completely divisible. It will return as it is. It will return 1. If I say 2 divided by 2, ampersand will return 0. If I say 3 divided by 2, remainder will be, its remainder will be 1. So it will be 1. So for odd number of items, the remainder will always be 1. For even it will be 0.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm doing here is, if I'm getting remainder 1, basically for odd item, I'm returning true. I'm passing true to whom? I'm passing true to filter. This logic developer has to build. Filter is saying that, okay, what I'll do for you developers is, I'll execute this function for the number of iterations or number of items in the array. But you have to tell me for the items you want to have in the array and the items you want to filter out. And for this, developers have to build this logic. Now, we have built this logic. If we say console.log, okay, let's it says 135. I told you initially, filter will return us the new array. In the new array, what does it have? The filtered logic. Any doubts in that? Anyone?
It gives us new array, but it won't mutate the original array, right?
Yeah. I'll
Yep.
print it for you as well.
Yep.
That as well.
Console.log of array. Okay.
Is it clear?
Yes, got it.
Sandeep, Srividya, any doubts you have?
Means a new array considering for false value.
Sorry?
New array considering for true value.
I didn't get your question.
A new array, we have created new array, new AAR, right?
Yes.
So the above condition, once 2 modulo equal to 1 means true and otherwise false, right?
Correct.
So,
This logic will get executed for each item in the array. For
yes.
every
So,
item in the array.
yeah. So new array holding the value for false one, right?
For the true ones only, no?
Sorry, true one, yeah.
True ones only. So whatever the true, we return to filter. Filter will only return us that value only.
Okay.
So we don't have to write this big code also. What we could have simply done is, instead of this is a shorter syntax. So eventually, this is a Boolean value. How is it a Boolean value? Because it's a comparison operator. Comparison will always return a Boolean value. So if it is true, then it will return true. If it is false, then it will return false. Any doubts? Anyone having?
No, it's
No.
Okay, so I think we should close this class for now. I wanted to teach you map, but it's been already been half an hour more. So see guys, to be very honest with you, I wanted to teach you JavaScript actually in depth before even going to React Native. But see, if I talk about React Native, the curriculum which we have, if you want to learn JavaScript actually totally in depth, then what I feel as you can decide and you can let me know and that how do you want me to proceed. But I was thinking, let's see, once you are comfortable with React Native, like Firebase and everything, these are the additional things. I mean, you can just go through the documentation and just you can do it by yourself only. I don't see any challenges in that. But what I would suggest you guys to learn React Native and JavaScript from me. And we can utilize that Firebase wala time here in JavaScript. Because that to me would make more sense. Otherwise, I will have to, because the vast curriculum which we have for for React Native is it won't let me, to be very honest, go too much in depth for JavaScript. So you guys can decide that how do you want it to be. You want to cover all the topics which are in the curriculum like Firebase and everything, or do you want to utilize the part with JavaScript? Like I'm comfortable with both. Anyone having any questions?
In Firebase means
see one thing what I want to say is you can just let us know the methods and the functions
Correct.
on the whatever the requirement. Just you
Uh-huh.
can just tell us. We ourselves try to go into deep that.
Correct.
Meanwhile, you
So
can as well teach the React Native things as well because those are also very important now. So that's what
yes.
I am thinking.
No, what I was telling you, see,
This
I
is
told
also
you in the last
dominant.
class that how we gonna proceed with this. We're gonna create one project, and first we're gonna do it with the internal state
Okay.
management. Then we're gonna do it with what? That Redux and this async storage.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, got it. Okay.
Yeah, the same project we're gonna do it with what? The Firebase. Firebase is internally. I wanted to teach you the authentication and that storage part only.
Yes. Got it.
Getting my point? So the same project only, but you just have to implement it via the Firebase,
Got it.
via the documentation.
Okay.
Because these nitty-gritty things you won't find in the documentation. But for the Firebase, you can have the in-depth
Yeah.
documentation.
Yeah, we got your point. For React Native, everything there is a documented for not for this, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is where I want to utilize the time because it will eventually be beneficial for you because you won't find anything documented like these things anywhere.
But even though, but the JS need to be written many times, then only you can able to do that.
JS needs to be what?
We need to be do it continuously by writing different type of codes, different type of logic. Then only we can get it
But for
correct.
writing the logics also, no? See,
Ah,
now,
yeah, that's
now you will be able to answer any sort of interview questions. If
Yeah,
you
yeah.
go through this filter thing, there are so many
Yes.
filter, interview questions for filter only,
yeah. Different type of thing.
different type of questions.
Question.
But if you won't be able to do it in depth, no, that
Ah.
it will be very difficult for you. I could have simply said that, okay, filter returns 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could have just, said that, okay, this is where you
Complex.
implement the logic.
Got it.
So you can decide, you can take your time, you can decide. And I'm okay with both the approaches. How do you want me to be? Any doubts, Srividya, Sandeep?
No, not yet.
We like actually JavaScript is main, right? So we can proceed with JavaScript only.
Because that's what I feel. I mean, according to me, I mean, so far I have taken many boot camps in my organization. I've taught more than 100 students, to be very honest with you.
Yeah.
And
So like in already there will be a project, or already they will be setting up the Firebase and all, but
correct,
logic we have to write in the
exactly,
coding, right?
exactly, yes. So if you will be able to understand it in depth, then only you will be able to. Because JavaScript is something different than any other languages. That's what I feel.
Yeah. Even though if you are good at developing UIs, but you don't know logic, then
Correct,
that's
correct, correct. So now I understand. I explained you the concept of objects, right? This there's cloning.
yes, yes,
I
yes.
explained you shallow cloning. There's a concept of deep cloning as well,
Yes.
which we'll probably cover tomorrow.
Okay.
You will see many developers struggling with these concepts. They don't even know that why it is changing, why the values are being changed.
And the two, the data which we are taking from APIs and which we are
Correct, correct,
all the things are mostly depending on the objects, the REST parameters,
exactly,
thread operators, and all depends on logic only.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Nice.
All right. So
Yeah.
we can close the session for today.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you. Thanks too much.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.
Any task?
I would say that just revise this. I won't be giving you any tasks till the time we are learning JavaScript, because for JavaScript, one thing I would want to tell you that there is Mozilla MDN docs for JS. If you want to have the in-depth knowledge, no, for anything, just go through these docs only.
Okay. MDN.
Mozilla docs. These are the official JS docs. Then many docs you'll be finding, but this covers everything. This Mozilla's, doc. So yeah, you can read it from there. ठीक है then.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Okay.
Iman.
Okay.
For
Thank you so much. Okay. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.